A minute or so for other people to arrive. So let's get started with meditation. Take your attention inside. And we're going to continue with the 9 ohms. And with each one of them, I'd like you to synchronize with the breath so you can really feel the space between the breaths and allow it to do whatever it does. Focus on that experience. And that way you don't have to count. I'll, guide you when we move to the next energy center. But let's start at the base of the spine, a little bit forward of that. And say 9 ohms with your breath. And we'll guide you when to move to the next energy center. So just hold to your own rhythm, saying the sound internally so that you can hold yourself to the experience of that energy center as you tone inward. So let's begin. I'm going to repeat the 9 times in this energy center because I'm not yet feeling grounded enough to move on. If you're ready to move on, go ahead. We're moving our attention to the energy center below the belly button. And now to the solar plexus, 9 ohms. And holding yourself in the space between the breaths. When you're ready, move to the heart center. Moving to the throat center. Moving our attention to the third eye. And now to the top of the head. And now feel the circulation of your energy system as you breathe with it, with your internal toning of the Om sound for a few breaths. When you're ready, holding your attention inside, allowing yourself to stay with this energetic awareness, slowly open your eyes. How may we serve this morning? So we're going to talk a little bit about death and rebirth, because it's kind of up in some ways. And death and rebirth happens to every part of the microcosm and the macrocosm. And if we are conscious of our own cycles, when we are going through death and rebirth experiences, it can help us to really focus on choosing the highest best in every possible moment as we go through these changes, both in our own microcosm and in the macrocosm. Because if we can hold steady and literally choose the highest within ourselves in every interaction we have, then we are supporting the whole in making that shift happen for the best. Because any death and rebirth can happen for the absolute best or the absolute worst. There are choice moments within it. We're sort of witnessing that process in our politics. And there are certain periods in our lives where we definitely have strong change happening regardless of what age and stage we are. Because I've been studying astrology a lot, I've been watching the election from the position of the transits. And in the chart of the United States of America, Pluto is the United States chart is living through a Pluto return, where Pluto is by degree in the same location where it was at the signing of the Constitution. No, it was the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The Constitution came somewhat later. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, the chart was formulated several years ago by an astrologer named James Kelleher, who's quite famous Vedic astrologer who went to Washington, D.C. and researched all the signatures. The timing of all the signatures. So anyway, this Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. And so our country is clearly going through a time of major choice. And we can see, at least in this moment, it looks like, one person sacrificing their career opened up a whole new possibility for the country. And of course, he had no idea that that's what would happen. He just saw it was the noble thing to do in the moment because he was losing support. So we're pretty optimistic in some ways that we will at least get to continue to vote. astrology is one of the least straightforward things I've ever studied. And so there are always, 10 arguments that you can make in any given direction. But things look pretty good with the momentum that's building. And looking at all the factors, there's way more hope this week than there was last week. A lot can change in a week. Interestingly, our most positive way to participate, aside from donations and letters and phone calls if we're so inspired, the best thing is to hold our own in our inner state, holding to the highest we can imagine for humanity. Not just the people in this country, but all the people of the world. Understanding that every intention that we express has some power. And the more intensity behind that intention and the more conscious that intention is, the more power is put in the sway of things for the highest best. And it's not exactly about being happy as much as it is about being aware. It's when we think about equanimity, which we would say in this moment is being in the center of oneself, completely grounded and present and balanced in a way that allows us to participate serving that divine energy within ourselves, the expression of that divine energy. And when we are in alignment, and moving from a place beyond attachment to outcome or beyond desire for or avoidance of anything in particular. But when we have that simple balance in ourselves, we are able to bring in energetic power that serves the whole. We align with that. And in growing that within ourselves, that awareness, we have an impact beyond what we imagine. That simple act of aligning with the simplicity within ourselves and supporting the whole connects us to the natural world around us, allows it to come through us in ways that benefit the entire planet. And we offer life to life in that alignment. With the understanding that love does conquer all. And in that understanding comes the wisdom to see that love sometimes means doing battle. I mean, this is what the Bhagavad Gita is about. But the real battles are in ourselves. Having met our own demons. And cultivating awareness of the source of our own actions. We become ever more conscious. As we think carefully of what it means to cultivate equanimity. And feel deeply within ourselves, allowing that energetic connection with the whole, which informs us of how to behave from alignment. And the alignment is with the creative energy that we were experiencing in our meditation, and allowing that to inform us of where we are freely flowing and where we're stuck, so that we are continuously unsticking ourselves and moving back and forth in that alignment. And our experience over time, some people get it right away. Most people, there's, running in and out of the room for a long time before we are there more and more frequently, and then for longer periods of time. And those periods of time get closer together. And there's no such thing as failure and success, because we are living through a dynamic process that has within it repeated expansion and contraction at all kinds of frequencies. And we have very little to no control over that input. So it's not like we can just decide to be aligned and be that way forever. It's a dynamic process that is constantly moving. And as we have all noticed, it's moving faster and faster over time. This is not an illusion. The rate of new information coming into our systems is unprecedented. And the need to step back is something that everybody on this call is very aware of. The need to step back and recalibrate at least twice a day, which is what meditation is. That need is great for all of us, because it gives us the opportunity to recalibrate our connection to the whole. And when we discover we're all stuck, that's not a cause for alarm. It's just a cause for work. Because as we said, this is a dynamic system that's out of our control for the most part. What we can control is how we react. And we can control focusing more and more on discovering what equanimity is and watching ourselves come and go in it. And some days are much easier and some days are much harder. And probably the main value of astrology is that we can see, sort of anticipate, the really hard ones and the ones, so we appreciate the ones that are really easy. and in beginning to see that flow, we really understand that there's little control we have. But as we regulate our breath and our attention, we can tune ourselves to be more stable and less reactive. And to be quiet as we hold and experience our reactivity and allow it to deepen our experience and our self-acceptance, rather than judging ourselves as failure and deepening our self-hatred. Because it turns out that the biggest obstacle for most of us is our shadow disappointment in who we are. And we say shadow because it causes a lot of grief when we face our disappointments. But then there is joy when we learn that we don't have to choose self-rejection. First, there's a little softening of the hard edges that we embrace about ourselves. Or we should say that we discover about ourselves, and in the embracing of those hard edges, softening them so that we are less and less victims of our own prejudice. We hope this makes sense. I'm wandering around this morning. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so grateful you're talking about this because this has been going on with me quite a bit for a while, and just really getting, I didn't even know how to speak into this morning. You've done it. And just these patterns that you're talking um, about the darkness and I have been softening, and I don't know how to even explain this, but it's been a wild ride, and it's I guess been part of me for quite a while. And I've been lost and also found all at the same time. It's just an interesting process. And um, I'm so grateful you brought this up because it's it's something I've been working on, and also the shadow has been very strong, and it's just so I'm just to help make piece of this is wonderful. I I went to the temple the other day, and I didn't even know what I was going to ask, but I've just been waking up with a lot of agitation at night and for quite a while, and it actually was a piece that I didn't know till I got to the temple. I just said, well, it's just going to be me, and I'm going to. But actually, I asked if my mother would show up, and it was very powerful because I had just didn't. It just came to the surface. I felt abandoned when I was 25 and she died, and it was so powerful. And she was right there, and my heart just I had a shift in my heart, and it was just such a blessing. Um, so it's just an interesting journey at this time, and I'm just really, you help pull it together for me in so many ways. Uh, I don't know what else to say. There's just been a lot going on.
Oh, yes. And the reminder that we can go to the Anasa temple for self-healing,
Yeah,
for, just when we're confused and agitated,
yeah,
we can go to the Anasa temple and ask, what is going on,
yeah,
and ask for healing of, emotional states that we find ourselves in that we can't really understand in the moment.
yeah,
And one of the things that happens is that we begin to take joy in the discovery of the shadow rather than dreading it and judging it and, feeling less than.
yeah,
We can feel empowered by accepting those experiences of abandonment
yeah,
for what they are, is tremendous demands from the inside that we grow up.
yeah.
You can look at crisis and opportunity in Chinese are the same symbol.
Interesting.
Yes. And for exactly that reason, they're the flip
Yeah.
side of each other.
Well, I've noticed, at my darkest times, there's a reminder because of the work we've done that this isn't all we've got. Just there's there's a realization in that um, difficult moment that, hold on, something else is going on here, and not pulling myself away, but just sweetening myself out in some ways.
Oh, what a beautiful description. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's really true. You know, when we face things and allow them to just be in
Yeah.
ourselves,
Yeah.
something very different happens.
It's almost like it's meant for that to come up, for the shift to be realized, is what I've been feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're in a personal evolution. That's really what meditation, if there's any goal in meditation,
Yeah.
it's supporting that personal evolution.
Yeah.
And we're not big fans of goal-oriented meditation because that brings in the whole thing of success and failure. And we prefer contraction and expansion because that takes us out of the realm of success and
Yeah.
failure.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes it's good just to sit down and say, wow, I really mucked this up, you know, and just be in it and learn from it, you know. I mean,
And also, like, whoa, I really went off there.
yeah,
It's like, oh my gosh.
yeah. And it gets a little bit humorous because,
Yeah, it
you
can.
know, it's like, oh, how could I have?
It's like, wow,
Yeah.
it's enough to just rattle it up enough to just stop and go, okay. Well, anyway, you're just speaking my language, and I'm so grateful for it. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. And thank you for the kind words. We feel like we're kind of rambly this morning.
Not at all. Not at all.
What else? We're so delighted to be here. Yes.
I was just going to confirm that what you're speaking about is hitting all the points that have been coming up for me. Not at all rambling. It's like you go from one question to the next, to the next, to the next. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're totally welcome. Totally welcome. Mm. Yes.
Well, I also have to say it takes a heck of a lot of courage to place yourself, to be working, to be feeling your way through this time uh, in ourselves, and we need guidance. We need. I'm so happy we have this in this group, and the sharing that we have. I think it takes quite a deal of courage to move through and just you feel the difference in when you feel the shift, and at the but it's also the lessons we've been learning. We're cultivating something here that's pretty huge.
Yeah. And the sharing of it, we find creates a foundation
Yeah.
that, you know, there's not this feeling that you're out there just doing it by yourself.
Mm,
And in having this energetic foundation,
mm,
there is the Anasa temple.
mm.
You know, there's a reset. Anasa temple is a reset. reset for ourselves whenever we are lost and confused
Mhm.
or grief-stricken,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
in pain.
Mhm.
And a lot of what meditation is facing our pain so that we're not living a life of reaction to it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but actually dissolving it and becoming ever more free from the limitations of feeling abandoned by someone, just to use your example.
Mhm.
And having the gift of insight
Mhm.
to realize what an opportunity that created,
Yeah.
and be grateful all the
Yes.
way around for it.
Yes. Yes.
And you know, actually thanking the people that we think abandoned us because of what opportunity they set up, you know.
Now I realized she was sick and had to go, but it never occurred to me abandonment until more recently, and it just came up. It came up and out, and
Well, that's
anyway.
the kind of thing that at 25 we allow ourselves to inhabit that feeling.
Mhm.
Because at 25 we're like, oh, freedom. But there's a certain amount of that. And
Yeah.
uh, we may be projecting, but
Yeah. Yeah, I was busy getting married and moving to Oregon at that point. Well, a couple
yeah,
years before that.
yeah, it's the expansion phase of our lives.
Yeah. And
And
I must say, I had an opportunity to come home when she was very, very sick and just embrace her. We had the best moments. It was like the universe was just around us. We were in that special, special energy. We were sitting outside together, and it was like space opened up for us, and we both felt it. It was just so beautiful, and she is such a beautiful lady. Um, it was very, very nice.
very often elders choose to get sick at the end so that the people around them are not so abruptly
Oh,
abandoned, to
uh-huh,
use that word.
uh-huh.
And because, as we've said for years now, the degradation that happens before death, the degeneration, is a choice. We don't have to
Mhm,
choose it.
mhm.
But sometimes, people we love do choose it to give us plenty of time to get used to the idea that they are changing, you know, ice to
Is that
water to
is that the ultimate gift to us?
sometimes. And it may also allow them time to get used to the idea
Yeah,
that they're going through a transformation.
yeah.
So it can happen, all kinds of ways.
Well, it was very special, and the boys were all gone taking care of their business, and I came down to assist, and really they had a difficult time being around it, and it was very magical. I just wanted to share that.
It sounds like it, and it sounds like you did a beautiful job with it.
Oh, well, it was easy. It was so easy. So I wanted to bring that piece in because there was, as I'm remembering it, it was quite it was quite the space opened up in such largeness. Yeah.
How wonderful that you had that experience at that
Yeah.
age, that
And
experience of
she
connecting.
felt it.
Oh,
She felt it as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
Connection with yourself, connection with her, and both of you in the divine
Yeah.
source field.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful. This
Yeah.
this is the best death can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you. Thank you. That's a precious story. It's just precious when we get to participate in death as expansion, which is what you just shared. And the other thing that you just shared is what we all know, and part of why we go to the Anasa temple, but the love never dies. You know, here you are, what, 50 years later, going to the Anasa temple. You call your mother in and she comes in, and you have that same experience of connection that you had when she died. Isn't that true? What happened?
It is. It is. Yeah.
That's what we're seeing. So that, you know, that love has always been there. You know,
Yeah.
every once in a while you check on it. It's still there. And it's you know, when we have loved, that becomes the ground we walk on.
Mm,
And you know, it's taken me decades to realize that's not necessarily our blood relatives.
yeah.
The people we have chosen to love are the people that we are connected to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
And
if we're lucky, they're our relatives.
yeah.
And you know, we're also lucky any love we find anywhere.
Love is love. Love is love.
Yes.
Yeah. Whether it be from the birds or you don't have to go far.
That's right. You can put your feet on the ground.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Just feel Mother Earth, you know, inflating your body.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
how easy it can be mucked up pretty quickly too. So
oh yeah. But you know, we can face a tree and pull in the energy and share
yeah.
communion
Yeah.
with, we can do that. You know, everything is divine.
Yeah. Mm.
Mm. And we are so lucky to have that experience. And that's home base inside ourselves. What else? Yes.
I was wondering what you thought about the idea that since total uncertainty is a quality of divine expression, that in a way it almost feels like that it's something that almost should be, if not awkwardly, almost worshipped, because it's an aspect of who we are, of what is.
So what he's saying is that total uncertainty which is the other end of the axis of stability, should itself possibly be worshipped because it is the truth. Total uncertainty. It's the truth of every single moment. And we could almost say that meditation is releasing ourselves into that total uncertainty, allowing it to be. And in that allowing, that allowing is the same as alignment. In the acceptance of total uncertainty, which is very hard to do. Because we're always trying to pull whatever we can into certainty in this moment, then in the next moment. But if we can just let ourselves go into the awareness that uncertainty is fundamental because we are in a dynamic event. So the only certainty is change. And as we were saying earlier, because that stimulus for change has gotten so intense, speeded up, in the acceptance that we are in a field of total uncertainty, we can allow ourselves to expand into whatever is. And expand is maybe the wrong word, but in the acceptance of what is, in the desire for acceptance of what is, there is a relaxation that happens that allows us greater access to flow within ourselves. Because what we've released is control, which is just acknowledge, it's the same as acknowledging the reality that we don't have control. It's part of the theme of what we've been saying this morning. is that uncertainty and acceptance of uncertainty is allowing flow, allowing the real contact, allowing a deeper contact. By allowing the uncertainty to be present. And most of the time we try to pretend it's not there, because its very nature makes us feel agitated and out of control. And allowing ourselves to turn our attention inside and expand into our contact with our energetic awareness. Is, yes, in a very real way, worshiping uncertainty. Understanding that every in-breath renews our life. And every out-breath is a release of that which no longer serves. And that brings us directly into the understanding that we are a dynamic system. And in feeling into the space between the breaths, we are feeling into that which doesn't die. Which is the source of the love that we share. And the only thing about us that doesn't die is the love. This is what we are truly contacting when we take our highest self to the Inasa temple and request the experience of the highest self of another. We are communicating in love, with love. Is that helpful? Yes.
Well, that was great. I just am wondering if a lot of this suffering is the root cause of our conditioning. And maybe that's just how it's supposed to be by design, perhaps. I don't know.
Well,
For the discovery.
you know, we talk about conditioning as the matrix of belief that was handed to us, you know, and continues to be handed to us.
Doesn't stop, does it?
No, it doesn't stop. But one of the great things about, you know, having access to so much information is that we get to choose a wider matrix of belief.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we get to share in so much information that it can, in seeing other cultures, we see we have a choice about our matrix of belief in ways that we never would experience if we didn't have exposure to other cultures.
True, yeah.
You know, the very fact that we have access to meditation and Eastern spiritual practices and the value of connecting directly to spirit. But, you know, there's no getting around the fact that we live in interesting times. And they're more interesting all the time.
Yeah, that's for sure. Laughing is good.
Laughing is essential.
Yeah, really.
Laughing is essential, as is crying.
Yes, yes, yes,
Sometimes
yes.
we laugh to keep from crying, and
yeah, crying to keep from who knows, just clearing it out.
yes, yeah, allowing ourselves to be totally human.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And, you know, we're going to say, as a physician, Rebecca said this for decades, but it bears repeating. Health is when you are in the free flow of whatever dynamic state is appropriate to the moment you are experiencing.
Wow.
For example, on an emotional level, we are only in trouble when we get stuck in one emotion for long periods of time. As long as we are free flowing, you know, within a period of a week, we probably have experienced every emotion on the scale. That is health. It's
Good to hear.
health is being present with
Yeah.
circumstance, not
Yeah.
reacting out of some matrix of belief that's fixed in our system that we can't,
Yeah.
you know, and so whatever is fixed, rigid in our system, this is what holds us back from our spiritual understanding being more expansive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that goes along with understanding that there is no such thing as certainty.
Yes.
The closest we can get to it is that every in-breath is followed by an out-breath, followed by an in-breath. And we don't know when that final out-breath will be.
Being in the moment.
Being in the moment. And matrix of belief is when we relate to an experience as though it's a recurrent of something we experienced in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And part of us says, oh, I know what that is. We do whatever we do to
Right.
ourselves.
Right.
And then to those around us in reaction to what we think we see.
Yes, we do.
But having a practice that allows us to be ever reflective and the most important thing is that we allow ourselves to be wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
That's it. We don't
That-
have to be right.
Yeah. Yeah. This has been such a delicious conversation this morning.
Oh, thank you. I see we're getting back to our final meditation time.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, we've so enjoyed being with you. It's just so, we're so full of gratitude for the depth of the understanding that we are sharing. And we love this soul meditation because it allows us to keep to our own journey. The Ohms are like a bookmark. And so whatever pace, and feel free to do your own meditation in this last few minutes. We just like the closeness of the energy together. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been such a joy to be with you. Went unbelievably fast. So have a great week, and we'll see you next time. So much love.